The president of Afghanistan, Hamid Karzai, held a press conference early Saturday morning. On that same day, Western media reports were released on a new law passed in Afghanistan.
President Hamid Karzai recently signed a law that threatens women's basic rights.
President Karzai is legalizing a law that is legalizing rape.
The UN says it's the legalization of rape.
We're only a few years removed from the rule of terrorists, when women were denied education and every basic human right. That tyranny has been replaced by young democracy.
Today, because we acted, Afghanistan's women serve as teachers and doctors and journalists and judges.
And the power of freedom is on display across Afghanistan.
The claim or the discussions that we were hearing 7 years ago was that Afghanistan women were liberated or became free out of the Taliban's domination.
The perception of the women of Afghanistan having been severely oppressed only under the regime of the Taliban and then having been freed by the United States military intervention in 2001 is a false perception.
We got reports back that indeed that had been accomplished and that women had thrown off their burqas and gone back to school and gone back to work, and things were wonderful for women. This is complete mythology. It didn't happen.
And now they're very, very disappointed. It's like seeing the light at the end of tunnel but never being able to reach it.
Now the case of violence against women more than Taliban time. There is 23 rape case just in 2 months in North Afghanistan. There is a lot of violence against women in West Afghanistan.
Rape, pillage, plunder, the abduction of young girls, the threatening of school teachers, these recent incidents in terms of acid.
Girls attacked with acid for daring to go to school. Despite initial gains, women's rights and even women themselves are increasingly under attack.
The attacks against women, both external and within the family, have gone up. Domestic violence has increased. Women, as a result of severe depression, have begun burning themselves in epidemic numbers. The very specific statistics about maternal mortality, literacy, infant mortality, just age range has not improved.
Since the US invasion of Afghanistan, cosmetically, things have improved for women. Yes, there are women in parliament now. Yes, there are driving schools and beauty schools for women. But really, if you look beneath the surface, has life improved for women in Afghanistan? Absolutely not.
You have to go back to the late 1970s, where the US started funding proxy soldiers in the fight against the Soviets during the Cold War. And the US elected to fund the most misogynist, the most anti-woman, most fundamentalist extremist men, leaders of these militias. They call themselves the Mujahideen, and they were really the predecessors of the Taliban. And the US paid them billions of dollars, helped arm them, train them, and this was really the beginning of the end of women's rights in Afghanistan.
When they were in power from 92 to 96, they abducted women and they killed women, they raped women, forced marriages, and on and on, and they committed a lot of crime against the women, even before the Taliban came to power.
But the Northern Alliance are most of the rest of these Mujahideen or warlords or war criminals. They are now dominating the parliament. So we sort of rehired them to defeat the Taliban after hiring them to defeat the Soviets. They became appointed as cabinet in Hamid Karzai's cabinet in return for defeating the Taliban. This was sort of political payback.
And when the new administration of Karzai comes, he also came with this direct support from United States.
When President Karzai first came into power, he installed an extremely fundamentalist judiciary in Afghanistan.
I had occasion to hear Chief Justice Shinwari describe the rights of Afghan women, and he said that women have two equal rights under the Constitution. Number one, every woman has the right to obey her husband. And two, every woman has a right to pray, though not in the mosque, which is reserved for men.
That judiciary is imprisoning more women than ever before in Afghanistan. And they're imprisoning them for running away from their homes, for refusing to marry the man that their family picked for them, for even being a victim of rape.
When it comes to issues of women, they are every bit as extreme as the Taliban. For most Afghan women, you would have to say that although there have been improvements on paper in the Constitution and international treaties, for most Afghan women, life has stayed the same, and for a very great number, life has gotten much worse.
The situation for women today in the Pashtun areas is actually worse than it was during the Taliban time. And the reason is because under the Taliban, women were kept in burqas and in their homes, away from education. Today, the same situation persists. They're kept in burqas in homes away from education, but on top of that, they're also living in a war zone. And women disproportionately suffer the effects of war. And so the majority of civilian casualties have been women. So women that I talk to in these areas often say that they actually wish the Taliban were back in power, because even though their lives were imprisoned then, they at least were kept free from bombs or from house raids.
If we have some women in parliament, if we have a ministry for women, it not means to now Afghan women is free. Because for common women, for ordinary women, the situation is same.
Women also suffer in war zones because when their husbands are killed, they can't work in any traditional jobs. Often they have to turn to prostitution or otherwise can't work at all.
They don't have any systematic government support. They are expected to fend for themselves. But in Afghanistan, if you're a single woman, if you're a widowed single woman, if you have children to take care of, if you don't have literacy, if you don't know how to read or write, if you don't have any marketable skills, you have no way of making money.
Some do go to prostitution. Some live in very, very inhumane condition, and so are their children. And some even send their children to work. 5, 6 years old children, they are the breadwinner of the family.
All of these are results of increased militarization within society, and I think that that's actually a huge concern for those of us who have watched what women's groups are dealing with on the ground in Afghanistan.
What has happened is the military occupation in Afghanistan has made things, has made the country more fundamentalist by legitimizing the Taliban opposition, and has made women suffer more.
When the military says, don't talk about women's issues, those are things we'll take care of later. We have to deal with the emergency situation. We have to deal with these military issues. We have to win the victory first, then we'll deal with that. Well, women and children are dying every day, and nothing is being done for them.
You've said that you are going to end this war. You've said that you are going to finish this, but by increasing military troops, where is this coming from? Is this coming from the demand of people on the ground in Afghanistan?
The United States government is not send our delegation to go and to talk with the Afghan people, what the Afghan people is want, and especially what the Afghan women is want.
Stop this war, because our people is very tired with this situation. And if they really want to help our people, we don't need more soldiers.
وقت ما تاییدول امریکایی عسکر په افغانستان کې اوس یې نه تاییدول په دې څه دوی راغله از اولو کې
افغانستان دیگه یا برن یا آرامی باشه ارزانی باشه امنیت باشه افغانستان آرام نیست.
Women have the power inside, and they just need to help them and know about their power.
We are human and we have same feeling, understanding, wishes for a better future.
I don't believe and I don't expect any outside power to come and liberate me. If I cannot liberate myself, no one from outside can liberate me.
اینجام زنها خاموش نشینن و همچنین در اون طرف در آمریکا.
I have a great deal of hope because I believe that Afghanistan has an incredible resource and that is Afghan women.
من نه تنها از آمریکا بلکه از تمام دنیا میخوایم که صدای عزیز زنای مظلوم از کل افغانستان بشنویم. ما میخوایم به واسطه تلویزیون شما صدا بزنیم که زنان با شهامت جهان یک جا باشند.